Hi, this is Mike and Sean with Talking Tickets. We got Mark Townsend, collector, dealer extraordinaire tonight to go everything, talking everything tickets. All right, Mark. Good to see you again, Sean. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, so we got Mark on. He runs the website ticketsfromthepast.com, and I've ran into him a few times at the National. He actually is kind of I guess you're a staple now at the having a table at the National, right? How many years have you been working that show?
I've done 7 of them now, and yeah, it's I've seen the transition from cards to tickets over probably 2010, I guess. I've skipped a couple Nationals here and there, but the last couple have been tickets have held their own.
So for all of that time, you've been doing tickets?
Oh yeah, I probably collected my first ticket. I used to own a little baseball card shop out here in Clarksville, Maryland, and I had a guy walk in one day with a '68 full World Series ticket. I guess he was Secret Service, so he got the ticket, didn't have to go to the game, and he also had a Ty Cobb baseball, and he wanted to consign them to me to sell. So I sold the Cobb ball, but I looked at that ticket and said, darn, I'm keeping it. And so I bought it from him, and I still have it. Mm-hmm. And that started my ticket collecting, I guess.
And what year was that?
That's probably around 1990.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Probably before you were born, maybe.
No. Like the middle school years.
Yeah, middle school years.
But yeah.
So you've been around for a long time, then collecting tickets specifically, then, Mark.
Well, I transitioned into tickets. So in 1990, I was still into the cards, mm-hmm. But I liked the tickets. And probably around 2004, 2005, the bug really hit me, and it became a passion. I loved trying to find the tickets. I loved the history of the tickets. And I saw my passion for cards just disappear. So I'd do shows. Yeah. I'd sell cards to make it profitable to do the show. And then I'd sell some tickets. But the tickets would never make enough money to make it worth your while to do a show.
Right.
But in the last 3 years, I'm selling many more tickets than I am cards.
Hmm.
So you started the National 7 years ago. And when you first set up, were you a mix of cards and tickets?
Yes. I probably had 10 cases out there and maybe 50-50, and then I stopped buying the cards. So the cases would slowly dwindle on the card side, and I'd fill it with tickets. And mm-hmm. Back in those days, you could have your tickets graded through PSA fairly cheap. And the turnaround time was fairly quick.
Yeah.
Unlike today.
How has that changed your business?
It makes it a little tougher to add tickets to the website because I like graded stuff. You don't have to worry about what you're selling them. They don't worry about condition.
Yeah.
I've thought about maybe starting to put some raw things on the site, but I haven't quite gotten there yet, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you go full-time only tickets in my case at the National?
I haven't yet. I mean, even this last National in AC, I had 2 cases of cards.
Oh, okay.
I had one case of, it was all old stuff
right.
From tobacco forward, and I had one case that was consigned to me. Somebody down in North Carolina had a bunch of cards from a neighbor. They brought them up. I went through them. I just blew them out, basically. There was some good stuff. There was a Joe Namath rookie in there. There was a Jordan rookie, all ungraded raw,
mm-hmm.
mid-grade condition. A lot of Mantles. So that still helped, on the money side.
So give us your take and your thoughts on this year's National. I know there have been, there were about 3 or 4 tables of tickets there. You've been doing it for quite a few years. Being in Atlantic City, kind of what was your feel and your takeaway from the show?
Well, working a booth, you don't get a chance to really get around and see the show. Even when you got 2 of us there, my wife helped me quite a bit. But whenever something came up, I'd get a text message: "You got to come back." But there were more tickets at this show than there have been in the past, and that was good to see. I know in Chicago last year there were a few, but there wasn't many at all. Myself, you were there. Some of your friends were there as well, and there were a lot of people from Booger Stubbs that were there, walking back and forth through the tables, which was nice. You could put faces to names, even if you put the faces to the names for 2 minutes, and then it's like, who's that guy that was here again?
Yeah. A lot of people. Yeah.
A lot of people. But it was great up until COVID, and we had that last day, even though I heard it was a slow day. Usually on Sundays, the dealers that do well will come by your booths, and especially with tickets, because we've got something that not many people have. So they see something they want, they'll come by and they'll buy it on Sunday. So I missed that. I actually had one customer come up as I had things all packed, and I said, well, shoot me an email, I'm gonna go that route. So I know I lost some sales on that day.
Yeah.
So tell us, what'd you have out? What was selling good?
Well, World Series tickets were hot. They've been hot the last few nationals. Some middle of the road, like I said, $300, $400, $500 tickets, home run tickets. Trying to think of anything that was big that I sold. Well, I did sell a Roethlisberger debut ticket. That was nice. It was graded at, I think it was a 7. And I sold a Brady first college game, UCLA. That was a 3. Those are two, I guess, are the biggest ones that I sold price-wise. And, the Brady, I didn't feel too bad about selling. I sold a Tarkington debut as well. But the Bradys are out there. I mean, if you want one, you can find one.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Roethlisberger. If you want one, you can find it. They didn't tear tickets for that game. The Tarkington, I may not see another one of those for a while.
Yeah.
I guess, as you guys know, I do have my Brown debut ticket is now sitting in Heritage Auctions.
Oh, that's yours.
That is mine. Yours. And I got my fingers crossed on it. We'll see. I was told by one of my family members that I should wait till the market gets better. But I just felt like, I don't have any real ties to the ticket, and let's see what the market does with it.
Yeah. So on that, what is your take on how the market has changed in the last year, and maybe even longer than that, going all the way back to when you started versus now? Because obviously we had this bizarre bubble that hit earlier this year, and now we're kind of back down to, but it's still, how does it compare now to where it was 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Back in the day, I mean, pre-internet, it was like, how do you find stuff? You just did. But Lenny Stearns is one of the big collectors in tickets. I'd buy from him quite a bit on eBay, just raw stuff. And, you pick up a Aaron home run ticket for $15-$20, and you'd pick up a Koufax and things like that, a win ticket for in the same range. And the price slowly moved forward. But, nice, slow, steady supply and demand kind of pace. And then COVID hit. And I think also you had card collectors jump into the ticket world. And some of them were big boys. And they saw the price of some of these tickets were so undervalued compared to the cards. They threw money at it. And then you started to see somebody say, whoa, you got that for that? I got one, I'll sell it. And then all of a sudden the supply more there than the demand, and you saw the price come back to where it should be. for the most part. You still see a few things go, what you think might be a little out there, but tickets are their own little beast. They're, as when you chase something, you can chase an oddball thing forever.
Yeah. Sure.
I got one. I've been trying to chase the 4 home run ticket. I guess say his name right, Colavito for Cleveland, playing in Baltimore. Never seen one. Never seen. And I would think living in the Baltimore area, one would pop, but hasn't happened.
Yeah. So how do you compare the customer at this year's national to previous nationals? Was it notably different in terms of card collectors that were looking for tickets, or did you notice a difference in the kind of?
I had a lot of people looking for tickets. A lot of people came to me looking for tickets.
Looking for specific one.
The cards were just a sidekick at this national. Being that I had some mid-grade, high-end stuff, dealers bought that up right away. I priced it to sell because I just wanted it out of my case, and as I moved it out, I put some tickets in its place. But yeah, they came looking for certain things. Maybe the one thing that didn't sell as much as I thought might were some of the mid-grade home run tickets. I don't think I sold any Mantle home run tickets. I don't think I sold any Koufax win tickets. Now I had a few things, as you, Sean, probably know, that might have been a little bit on the high end, But
everybody's always priced too high.
But I had a lot of things I thought was right in the market. The only things I jumped on the high end were things I didn't know what the value really was.
Or you didn't mind keeping them.
Or I didn't mind keeping them. And so I put a little bit of higher price on it. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, I bring it back next year. If I even bring it back next year. That's
I was going to ask you, since you've been around doing tickets for a while, did the debut thing kind of take you by surprise how it blew up so fast? Or is that something you're kind of into?
It did. I've had in my day some good debut tickets, and I've always thought of them, the rookie year. No idea that debuts, that one ticket would jump like it jumped. Although by probably 2016, you saw the writing on the wall. I mean, those would sell. Yeah. So you knew that those were going to continue to increase, but nobody saw the bubble. Nobody saw it go from, a $5,000 ticket to a $100,000 ticket. Nobody saw what happened with Jackie's tickets. Sean, you're lucky you had one, or you had two of them from what I hear.
Once upon a time. Well, Mike has one too, so don't.
Oh, there you go. I should have one too then.
Yeah, we should have worked out a deal with Mark. I guess you can probably officially say now that I guess that 3 to 6 month window was, I guess, officially a bubble for.
Yep.
I guess mainly for debuts, I would say. I don't know if I really saw any. I guess there was some historical items that really went through the roof, but I feel like it was more concentrated.
I think debuts and autographed tickets, especially autographed debuts, but I think autographed tickets were, for sure. But there was a lot of,
I think the autograph
Tom Brady stuff. Come on, that was way too high.
You're going to see the autograph stuff come down, I think, on a lot of the newer stuff, because these guys are signing left and right. So you're going to see that happen because there again, it is a supply and demand, and there still are not that many ticket collectors out there.
Right.
Considering some of the supply, especially the supply of tickets from 2000 to this point where they weren't torn and people were starting to save them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at the Aaron Judge debut ticket. I mean, there's probably 50,000 of them out there, 40,000 of them out there.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of them like that in the modern era.
If he hits 60 homers, the PSA 10s, I could see them at $2,000 a pop. And I could see the commons, non-graded ones, still sitting at, a couple $100. So big difference in the grades.
Yeah. Do you notice that there's a big fluctuation in how guys are performing in real time like that?
Yes.
Or
For instance, let's go back to Judge, and I'll be guilty. I bought one a couple of weeks back. When he got in that little home run spree, you saw them on eBay. They went from tens went from 500 to 700 to 900.
yeah,
About 14 right now is where they're sitting. Nobody's really pushing the button because he slowed down.
yeah,
But in baseball cards, were the same thing. If Ken Griffey got hot and his upper decks went through the roof. And then when Barry Bonds got the steroid use, this cards crashed.
yeah.
And you can still see the same thing with some tickets. I mean, look at what's his name in San Diego?
Tatis, yeah.
Yeah.
Tatis
Yeah,
Jr.
I mean, his debut ticket, I'm sure, is taking a hit because of
Yeah.
what he's done.
Yeah, I think Pujols' stuff has got to be.
Oh,
strong,
man.
especially if he gets to 700.
If he gets to 700, I'm sitting on one of his cards. I've got a 2001 Studio 5x7. It was his rookie card, but it's a 5x7 card. It was autographed. They did 50 of them. They're top boxes.
Oh, wow.
I put the whole set together, and he's in the set. And I'm just looking at that card thinking, if he goes to 700, this might be a good card to.
I think, yeah, the 700 thing for him is unique because nobody expected it, and now he actually has kind of a shot at it. I think he needs 7 more, and
yeah, he's at 693, I think, is his number.
Yeah, and if he hits the 700, then that creates a new club, the 700 club, and that's a rare group to be in. So.
How many you have, Sean? How many Pujols debuts?
I just have one full. I'm not a collector of multiple tickets. If I'm going to spend money on a ticket, then I'll always get something else that I don't have.
What? So you got a full? Is it graded?
Yeah, it's a 7.
Yeah. So if someone showed you an 8, would you want to buy it?
No. I would downgrade though. I would downgrade to a 4 if they wanted to toss in another Hall of Fame debut.
Mark's trying to make a deal.
Just curious. I remember the National. It wasn't Chicago. Might have been Cleveland. A guy came up to my booth with a whole bunch of Ruth home run tickets. I mean, he had a binder of them, and he was trying to put the set together. And I had some on one of my cases. And I had a couple that he didn't have. So he wanted to make some trade. He was going to do a 2-to-1. I could take anything out of his binder because I got what he was bringing were doubles. And I get 2 home run tickets for the 1 home run ticket. So I went through his binder. I pulled out the 2 best in the bunch. He looked at me and he goes, you're into the grading thing? And I thought, well, it's kind of important what the condition of the ticket looks like. And he kind of shrugged his shoulders. We made the deal. I sent him to PSA, and I think I got 3s and 4s out of them. We're all happy.
Well, speaking of Ruth home runs, Justin chimed in and said, Legend Mark, I need a Babe Ruth home run ticket, buddy.
I know he does. He bought some from me. I gave him a few. He's the home run man right now for Ruth stuff.
Yeah, so I know he's collecting on that. You have the website. I can pull it up here. Tickets from the past.com. Let me pull it up.
How long have you been working on that website, Mark?
I think I started it in 2012. I'm a painting contractor by trade, and one of my customers was into web design, and she had just gotten started, and I paid her to put a site together for me, and I've been maintaining it ever since.
Do you see owning a site? Well, I was going to say owning a site, there's got to be very few designated ticket websites out there than yours. Is that correct?
I missed you there. You broke.
So there's got to be. Are you the only designated 100% ticket website where it just has ticket stubs for sale?
That I don't know. I couldn't answer that question.
I can tell you before I found, Facebook and social media and stuff, I was searching for ticket collectors and tickets online, and I ran across your website, and I don't remember what year it was, but it was probably 2015 or 16 or something like that. And that's what kind of made me realize, oh, there are people out there who are like me, who love this as a hobby. And so it kind of motivated me to find, other groups of people like through Facebook to connect with other collectors, because really that's the way you grow your collection beyond what you can find on eBay or in auction houses and stuff. So in that way, you kind of you were an inspiration, Mark, the website.
Well, as I tell my friends, I'll take 10%, please.
Deal.
10% of the Jackie.
Nice.
So you see, many sales? Is it kind of unique sales from your website than say what you would sell in person?
Unique? Nah, probably. That's a tough question. I mean, there's the collector side of me that certain things I just don't want to sell. Sometimes on the site, I know when I sold the Ernie Banks debut ticket, it was on my site for quite a while, and I had it priced high. And eventually, the buyer kept trying to whittle me down and got me in Cleveland one day, and I put a firm price on it. He started low, and he inched forward and inched forward. And finally, I looked at him and said, "You're going to buy this thing, aren't you?" He goes, "Yep." And
who do we know? I'm assuming that Sean knows the buyer. He's got to know.
I've heard this story so many times from both sides of this, both the buyer and the seller. What is that? Is that your biggest regret? The one that
I regretted it even before he said, "Yes, I'm going to buy it," because I had my wife sitting next to me, and she just, she saw the dollar signs, and I knew that, by selling it gave me money to buy other things.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, and he knew. I said, this is only going to go up in value, and it was autographed. It was a PSA 4.
Yeah.
It's a 1-of-1.
The attendance at that game is like 4,000 or something.
Yeah.
You've never seen another Ernie Banks debut.
No.
And signed.
So it was. But there again, that was a ticket that I didn't have any real feel for. There are certain tickets that, certain Brooklyn tickets that I won't let loose. I let loose a few World Series tickets that I shouldn't have. But I'm hoarding on that right now, unless I've got multiples of them.
Brooklyn, any particular year or just all?
I like 47 to 57, the Jackie years. Although he was only to 56, but the 57s, you still had early Koufax, and you had Snyder and Hodges and guys that were early Drysdale. And Brooklyn tickets are just so, there's something about them that the graphics on the tickets are sweet, and they're hard to find in any kind of decent condition. I mean, I gave you a stat from 47 to 57. There's only 2% of PSA 6s of all of them, and it goes like 1.5 of 7s, and there's maybe 1 or 2 8s, maybe 3 8s, and maybe 1 or 2 9s, all 47 57s in the PSA population. And the World Series is kind of the same way. From 5s up, they're hard to find,
So it sounds like the technical grade is an important thing to you when you are evaluating a ticket.
It is, to a point. And now if it's, let's just say the Ernie Banks. I mean, if it's a 1-on-1, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
But if there's multiple of them out there, then it's like the card world. You're looking for the best. And when the time comes, you're going to sell it. The buyer is looking for. He doesn't want a ticket that's got writing on the back and part of the ticket's missing on the front, and is got a corner tear unless he can't find another one. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. See, and we've talked about this numerous times, but I'm kind of the not exact opposite. If all else is equal, I would prefer the higher grade, but a low grade isn't a deal breaker for me because it's a ticket. It's with cards, they should be in good shape. That's the whole goal.
Well, unless it's like let's say a tobacco card, and You know,
Yeah.
there's the different backs, and you found one with an odd back, and you're going to take whatever you can get. And tickets are the same way, but unless it's a real oddball ticket, you know, early ticket. Yeah, I'm looking at grades. I've turned down a few things on the Bay that I've looked at. It's like, nah, writing on the back, nah. I can see too many creases. You know, I'll look for something different.
Yeah.
But sometimes, as you know, if you find it once and you walk away from it, you may never find it again.
Yeah, that's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
You say you're collecting wheelhouses. I guess you said kind of the older baseball specialty, Brooklyn Dodgers. I see you usually have a lot of old football too, also, but not too much basketball. Is that right?
Yeah, I never really. My knowledge in basketball wasn't really there. I was good in baseball and football, so I kind of just stayed away from it. And then all of a sudden, like the debut tickets, basketball just took off. I mean, Bryant and Jordan, and it was like, wow, where do you get your feet wet? You know, where do you jump in?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, maybe I just don't jump in. I had a guy at the National at this last one come by with, I think he had 5 Jordan graded tickets. Maybe they're Bryant graded tickets. They were all 50-point tickets, 40-point tickets. And they're PSA 8s. He wanted 200 apiece for them. And I thought about it for 4 or 5 seconds, and I passed on them. And that might have hit your booth. I don't know. It's just you got the water's got to be right to jump in.
No, I agree with you, Mark. I'm the same way, and I think that it's a good principle to stick to, and that is that do what you know a lot about.
Yes.
And don't be careful about, expanding out from that.
In tickets,
I'm a baseball guy too, and I just go after baseball because I know a lot about it, and basketball really isn't.
It's like soccer. I mean, I had a Pele debut World Cup ticket. I had it for a while. I mean, and all of a sudden I sold it to a guy in Spain, and 6 months later the bubble hit, and the card sold at an auction for I don't know, 40 grand or some crazy number. And I'm like, what the? But I see it's come right back down. Except the one on Heritage right now. They've got one that's
it's a premium grade though, right?
Yeah, it's a premium grade, exactly.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of them out there, but if it's a high grade, it's going to get some of that high dollar value.
That's how it differentiates. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on the point, about the high dollar tickets, the bubble. But as we saw at the show, it seems like the lower mid-level tickets still sell pretty dang well, as long as it's not just a abundance of supply that overwhelms the market.
Well, it's now just a matter of getting enough collectors out there in the market. The old stuff, the stuff in the 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s, the supply is very limited, and the market will absorb that. Stuff in the 2010 forward range, there's not a lot of that's going to sit. You got your Jeter collectors, and your Ripken collectors, and that will move, but
Yeah, it's almost like the junk wax era. In the early 90s. There's just oversupply when it comes to 2010.
I'll say the junk era gets you out of the card. You said you had a card shop. Was that right?
Yeah, well, I got out of the card shop a different reason. I found my landlord wasn't paying any of his bills, including my including the security for the building.
That'll do it. But
it was at the same time when the market for new stuff crashed, right around 91, 92, I guess. And the old stuff just went stagnant. And I still loved my Dodger collection. I still got those cards. But everything else that just kind of like tickets took over, and if I want a card, I can find it. If I want a Mantle rookie card, they're out there,
Yeah.
So, but if that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you're looking for that you haven't found other than the 4 home run game?
Oh, Well, I got a customer that's been looking for a 56 World Series Game 1 ticket in decent shape. Haven't found one of those in about 2 years. I mean, some of these tickets are just disappearing.
Yeah.
I noticed. Change the subject real quick on Heritage's auctions. This one here, they've got a greatest game football ticket on there. PSA 5, I think it is. 58 Colts and the Giants, and they've stated that it's one of one highest grade. And I know there's a 6 and 2 7s out there because I own them all.
Oh, you have a 6 and a 7?
6 and 2 7s.
Well, that's what's weird about, if you pull up the PSA pop report and you don't, go, let me see if I can find.
Right. See, this is my theory on this. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to read the pop report.
Yeah.
And so they'll look at it and they'll, find something and then they'll just assume, oh yeah, that's the number, but it's not.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like the only sure way to see the full population is to click on this ticket link. And then when it comes up, search the year, search the name. Otherwise, if you do the search box, I don't feel like all of them pop up.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they're labeled like different for some reason in different levels.
PSAs put them in different categories.
Right.
Yeah.
And
sometimes
you got to look at all the categories
as a category, and then sometimes it'll just be a general stub of that year, and you have to look at all of them to find how many there are. So
it was interesting because I bought one of the 7s maybe 4 years ago, and I knew it was the highest out there, and I thought, wow, I got 7. I'm kind of check the population report once in a while to see if anybody gets anything higher. And I had a guy hit me through my website. He had some tickets he wanted to sell, a bunch of things, and I bought them all from him. And there were 2 tickets of that game in that batch, and they looked pretty good to me. So I sent them to PSA, and one came back a 7, one came back a 6. I was like, whoa, I got 2 7s and a 6 now. And so I put them all together, and they were all matching seat numbers. They were all 3 seats right. But I bought them 4 years apart. It was really, really odd.
Yeah, that's it. It's surprising how often that happens. And like I've mentioned before, of the 11 Jackie Robinson debuts that are out there, 4 of them are consecutive. And, it makes sense because it was probably a group of people who went to the game and somehow all of them got saved and then they all made it to the market at different times.
You see the Booger Stub, somebody posted 4 of Jackie's last game and 56 ticket stubs. And they looked very, very clean. One of them looked really clean. Probably the one that I saw that looked the cleanest. I'm guessing that could come back in 8, which would be major dollars if he sent it in and put it in an auction. I mean,
was that his last regular season or last World Series?
Last game regular season.
Which is also his last home run.
Yeah, he had 4, and they were all consecutive seat numbers. Somebody had, just like Sean said, somebody had him. They brought him out, and I looked at him, was like,
so, Mark, do you get a lot of just random sales on your website that you didn't know the person and they just put the ticket in the cart and just buy it?
Do I run that one past me again? Do I sell?
Do you get random sales on your website just periodically where people are buying tickets without contacting you and trying to negotiate?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, most of what I sell on the site is I wake up in the morning and I say, PayPal tells me I got money, and I go to the website and see what I sold. And a couple times people have contacted me if they want to buy 3 or 4 things, and we'll go that route. But part of what I like about the site is there's no real bickering going on. And I feel most of what's on that site is priced accordingly. I keep a good eye on the market, what has sold on eBay, what people are trying to sell things for. And, there's a lot of things on the bay that are really high priced. So you can't really use that as a gauge for what the value of something is.
Yeah.
So you see it sell.
So how do you decide? Because we've had this discussion before, and everybody has the different idea on how to price a ticket that doesn't really have any comps.
You're right. Well, you get to I should have marked this one down. Got to look at let's take first hit tickets. So you look at what's sold for first hit tickets, and you look at the era of when it was and population of what you see that's out there, and you kind of get a gauge of maybe how much demand is there for this person. Like a first win Koufax ticket. I know a few of them have sold on the Bay in the last 4 or 5 years at a decent price, and I think right now it's probably underpriced. That's kind of how you got to look at it. I mean, a Will Clark first hit ticket. You have to figure out a range of who wants what.
Yeah. Because there's more, a lot more Mickey Mantle fans or collectors than there are, Mike P.
Back to the Aaron Judge ticket. I mean, he goes 60. I mean, you look at you're going to get a blank here on me. The shortstop for Jeter. Look at Jeter. There's a lot of his tickets out there, but his debut tickets are getting good premium price.
Too much.
Yeah, too much.
Last one went for
Most overrated player in baseball history. I'll say. I'll probably take some flack for it, but I don't care.
It'll take them a little while to find you.
Yeah, I remember Sean's mentioned that, and that's interesting. You said that too about the first hit, first K. You're kind of, undervalued, kind of off the radar, and that does seem like something that people would draw more interest. First home run, things like that.
I think so, especially with certain players. That first hit, first win, first strikeout. It goes back to certain events that happen in a game. People start. I can see that being chased as Nolan Ryan killing a pigeon, with his pitcher.
Bells.
Yeah, certain things.
Yeah, who would have thought? But yeah, to me, the first, if it's something that they were known for doing, like power hitting, Hall of Famer whose first home run, that's kind of right along the line of the debut, because the people who were at that game weren't aware that it was a historic event until well after, so they wouldn't have necessarily saved a ticket for that purpose. And so that's why they appeal to me. And I collect those too. I'm looking for a Campanella first hit if you know of one.
Let's make a deal.
I did put it on the site.
I saw that, and you reduced the price a little bit.
Not the price a little bit. We can talk.
Yeah.
That's the only reason, like I said, I'm selling that ticket is because I got another one. And
you didn't mention that.
Oh, I didn't mention that?
Yeah.
Keep that secret.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got the 6, the PSA 6 on that, and so I pulled the 4 out of the safety box and said, "Oh, maybe I can move this."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun hobby. I like tickets. I think a lot of people, World Series tickets is what got me going with it, and you just branch from there. And,
pulled up a few. We were talking about earlier. Here's that those nice Jackie ones that you're talking about. The 4s. I remember seeing that briefly, and then I saw the NFS, so I didn't really dive into it too much. But
the one on the bottom right is the one I think can go in 8. I mean, it looks clean on the front side. Perf tear looks right. I don't see any issues with it. So
yeah, those are nice.
When you were talking about the greatest game, I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm sure you've seen. Have you seen these before? The Foles?
I've probably seen one, but not lately. Who's got that?
It was on Heritage, and I remember bidding on this and losing out on it. And this was actually sold, which is even more interesting because in 2015, this ticket sold for $11,950, and then it sold 4 years later for less. It kind of tells you what the market was doing up and prior to COVID. And I'm sure if this thing went today, we'd be probably looking at closer to, I don't know what it would go for.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and there's a lot of those tickets out there, not the fulls, but a lot of the stubs.
See, look, I bid.
But there you go back to condition. I mean, if you want one of the nicer ones, then I mean the one that he's got, the 5 on Heritage right now, is still one of the better graded ones. It's just not the top of the line.
Right. Do you scan the auction houses when they come available, Mark?
I try. I'm probably not as diligent as I could be on them. I definitely scan them when I got stuff in them.
Oh yeah, we gotta look up. Might as well give you some promotion. Take a look at that Jim Brown. You got anything else in that auction?
Now that's the only thing I have at this point. And I when I gave it to Heritage, I was tossed between them and Golden, and I think I gave it to him in Philadelphia at one of the big shows there. And
oh, there it is.
There it is.
Get your bids in.
Get your bid in. It's a 3, and there are like 3 or 4 4s out there. And the 57 tickets for Cleveland, the stock of the tickets were terrible. So the grades, just if you look at any 57s, you'll see they're 1s, they're 2s. It's just, I don't want to say an ugly looking ticket, but it's not the prettiest ticket out there.
Right.
But it is a 3, and it works.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Well, I know we were going to take a look at these Golden auctions. I know there was just one pretty decent one. Did you take a look at it, Sean, about all the sales?
I looked through it, but I didn't see anything that interested me, so I didn't follow up on it.
I followed it pretty closely. I actually won a few items, but I thought a few things were interesting. Before the extended bidding, this was at like 5,000 and ended at 20K.
Whoa.
LeBron debut full, which I thought was, pretty solid given the way the market has been. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And then there's that Pele. Here's a 3 that went for 10. Actually, I was kind of a little surprised at that, given I feel like these things have been all over the place.
Yeah, they've been earlier. Yep, they have. I think a lot of them had holes in little staple holes in them.
Right, little paper clip or staple holes.
Yeah.
And this one is the Brady signed auto. There's an auto, authentic auto 10, the Super Bowls. When we talk about those guys, like you talked about that Big Ben sale, I'm pretty sure that was from a Fanatics guy who bought the Big Ben debut from you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They buy them up, auto them, put them out. I'm sure, whenever I see an autoed Fanatics guy's ticket, I'm always under the assumption that, Fanatics seller is behind these auction houses.
Well, I'll know if he does that because it was one of my tickets. I mean, I had season tickets for the Ravens since day one, so it's got my seat number on it. And
so is that your number one team?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Ravens fan. I've even got a Seattle's jersey with a Dilfer autograph on it, which I don't know where it came from. So Sean, if it's something you would like, I know you're up there in Seattle.
Yeah. I'll pass on Dilfer.
I mean, I traded it for something.
Yeah.
It's time for the who's the new quarterback? The Denver guy. I can't forget his name. The new era.
Drew Lock.
Oh, the Drew Lock era.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
A few of this is a cool one. The Kareem Abdul sign, Lakers debut, beat to hell sign, but that's 4,500. Wow. I feel like that may have went for more.
What did it go for? I can't really see it here.
4,500.
Yeah.
See, I think that's really high for that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess it has the auto. I still know how rare it is.
Well, I don't know how many people are out there looking for a Lakers debut. It's the debuts of players when they switch teams. It doesn't appeal to me.
Does nothing.
But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, but I would think being that he has had such a career with Los Angeles that
Yeah, that's true.
That might be an exception.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Oh, there's another one. This is a really random one. The Chamberlain will first head-to-head with Bill Russell with the dollar bill ticket.
Yeah, I've been seeing that one pop up lately, periodically. I wonder if somebody found a number of them or something, because
very,
that's something you have to be careful of.
Yeah, we've discussed that, and we've all been the victim of that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Although there are some tickets, like there's some of these books that they find out of, like the 1910 Cleveland Naps books.
Right.
Just Heritage has got some on there now.
Yeah.
They put 6 or 7 of them out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it causes the price to go a little less than what they're really worth.
Yeah.
But once the market absorbs them, they're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I know. A ticket, I have to scroll down once it all loads in. We'll get to it. A few other ones. This is kind of a one that was kind of luckily I saw one of these at the peak of the bubble. It's just something like this. This is what kind of the new tickets where it's it's a Giannis ticket. You didn't have to use it to get in the game. Giannis debut. It's got Carmelo on the front, but it's Giannis, could be an all-timer. It's a 10, and those sold for like $2,300. When the peak sale, I believe, was mine. I sold for $10,000 on eBay. It kind of tells you what these things have done, and it's like, well, is this the bottom for this? It's one of those tickets where there could be a bunch out there, but it is a legend, but it's a weird ticket because Carmelo's on the front.
Yeah, how many 10s are out there? Do you know?
I think there's 12 10s, and then there's some that are autoed.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the grade is super important. They had a bunch of Jesse Owen track tickets in there. I thought that was interesting.
They were out.
One went for $2,000.
They showed up in the market, probably around 15. A bunch of them.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot out there. It's just interesting how some tickets there's just dozens, if not a few hundred, and others you can't find them if your life depended on it.
I think the market could be absorbing, especially these gold medal tickets. They're disappearing, driving the price.
Talk about the auto debuts. Here's a Trout auto debut, which I kind of like this version. The box office, it went for $2,000. I think for like this would have went for like 4 or 5 or 6 months ago. It's a good example of
for sure
a bubble ticket that's kind of finding its way. These types have picked up. World Series Game 1, Mantle Mays debut. You have some of these, Mark? Are you into the whole World Series debut thing?
I've got some. I don't have a show and tell. I got. You see or not, but there's
give me a sec.
There we go.
Yeah.
53, I believe it is. Game 1, PSA 5, 52. Excuse me. Jackie getting his first home run. I just sent in the 51 game 1 to the PSA yesterday. We'll see, and it'll go on the website when it comes back in a couple of years. And
well, I think I feel like the turnaround now is about 3 to 4 months, so it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. It was. I sent some to him before the national, and it was about 6 weeks. But then they jumped their grading to where regular is now $100 and economy is $50.
Yeah,
so I'm sure it's going to be.
I dropped some off when I was at the national, and what was that, like 3 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm.
And they just today I got notice that they received them.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. You have that national backlog.
Yeah, I think they would have received it faster if I would have just sent it to them.
Yeah. I heard the same thing about some card collectors that it's taking forever. Some of them hasn't even registered yet. So.
Yeah. So.
All right. Speaking of Aaron Judge, here's a Aaron Judge signed debut. Went for $1,900. Beckett graded. Kind of interesting.
Graded, yeah.
Just kind of gives you an idea of what something like that's going for. Other one, Chris Paul debut, $1,700. I thought that was kind of a cool ticket. Devin Booker, it kind of tells you pop one, there's only one, 1,200. It's Devin Booker, but I guess he could be really good. A really random one, Mickey Mantle rookie ticket stub from 2-run game, pop one, 1,300. I guess it shows you the strength of Mickey.
Mickey is, to a point.
Yeah, seen a lot of these out here. I really like this ticket. It's that Kobe 81. This is a pretty high grade, but 1,200 is actually pretty lower compared to some of the sales in the past. I think that's just more of so many tickets hitting the market that it's a good example of like, oh yeah, something that was saved by a lot of people given the historical significance.
I'm sure there were a lot of basketball tickets that were saved. They didn't tear them, and they were neat, good souvenirs.
Yeah,
probably over half of the people saved them, I want to guess, in one way or the other.
Do you do much All-Star games, Mark? Like MLB?
I've had some. I've got some older All-Star stuff. I got I think I had the National, a 34 All-Star ticket. Actually, it was a pass, graded. It's neat looking. I think I got a couple on the website. I kind of like them when somebody big does something, a Mantle homer, or I think there might have been one All-Star where Mantle and Williams and a couple other folks hit homers at the same time. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. A Brady first start, I was kind of surprised. I went for 1,100 and it's beat to hell, authentic stub.
You just don't know about Brady. Is it peaked? Is it just getting started? I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how he plays this year.
Yep.
Until he's to watch.
Yeah, even if he has a terrible year, you just feel like even 10, 20 years from now, he's just going to be. Nobody's going to have a better career than him.
So,
that's what they said about Manning and Brett Favre and Joe Montana. So who knows?
But for Brady, being that he's still playing, it would be. I'm not one to say that it is, but it would be a kicker if they found out he was on steroids or rods or all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Any player who's still playing, you never know. You never know what could happen. And it could be just some personal scandal, or it doesn't have to be steroids.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the risk.
A lot of this other stuff is kind of, lower end stuff. I feel like these Messi debuts are starting to get washed out. Like so many, but you still see them. It's crazy. But this one for 1,000. It was actually
a full PSA 7 and went for $1,000.
We showed that one at Heritage went for 50,000, like almost identical. Went for
it was
50.
a PSA 7, right? Yeah. Crazy.
No. That's crazy. But yeah, it's pretty. Once you get to the lower end stuff, I know one of the tickets I bought, and this is a good example of the market getting flooded. Where I was like, man, I can't. I bought this ticket is one of the ones I bought, and it's there's a lot of talk about how these just hit the market like crazy. Like somebody had like 20 of them and dumped them. I was like, man, $540 for an auto Dion debut.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's like a good deal.
I would have paid that.
I would have paid that too. That's a doable ticket there at that price.
Because that's the thing. Like, okay, so when all these hit the market, well, what's the long term? Sooner or later, they're gonna get, like you said, they're gonna dry up, and then the collectors.
And Dion is somebody who will never not be popular.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at with some of these tickets. Is like, okay, are we at the point now where, we're at the point where they're going to start drying up, and you're not where you once saw them all the time. You're not going to see them all the time.
That's the way it is with some of these Brooklyn World Series tickets. There was a time when you could go to a show and, $200-$300 for nice ones. You pick them up raw.
Oh, easy.
Now they're gone. They're just, and if you find them, they're all beat the where.
And I definitely passed on those all the time because they were so available. Yeah. And I never really wanted to spend that money on it because I knew I could pick one up, later. But now you're right; they've dried up. You can't get them anymore.
I've sold. I remember selling the 56 game 5, the Larson game. I had a PSA 5, and I had a 4. Same thing with the 60 game 7 ticket. I think I had the highest graded one at one point and sold it. And and didn't have any problem selling them because I figured I could always find more.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can't find anything of any kind of grade.
Yeah, it seems like the Larson has gone up quite a bit just recently, right? It was settling right around $400 or $500 forever, and then now it's 3 times that.
Well, when I sold the 6, and it's been a few years, I think I still got like $1,200-1,300 for it, but only because it's had such a high grade on it.
Right. Right.
And it's there it is. People look for the high stuff.
The one that's that example for me is the Super Bowl one. I'd like to get a Super Bowl one ticket, and I don't care what grade it is. I would be happy with a really poor grade, but there's so many of those, and you see them all the time, but the price just keeps ticking up just outside what I'm willing to spend for it, because I don't want to spend a lot because they're so common, you know?
You think there'd be a lot of common fulls out there because there wasn't that many people at the game.
Yeah.
And they printed all those tickets, so where do they go?
Yeah. Or you collect Super Bowl tickets or deal with them?
I had some, but I always thought there were so many of them out there. I got my Ravens tickets, and I had 3 or 4 of them in my case. The National, I think I sold them all. But just my passion for the Super Bowl tickets isn't as much as it is for regular season football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Super Bowl tickets are a souvenir.
Yes,
and
exactly.
They've always been treated as a souvenir, and so and it's the highest attended game in the season. I think they have to have 70,000 people there to be able to be eligible for a Super Bowl. So there's 70,000 souvenirs that they give out, and of course everybody's going to keep them.
Yeah.
So it's the most common ticket out there, I think.
Yeah, if I was buying Super Bowl tickets, I'd be buying 10s. If you're looking for keeping your monetary value.
Right. It's all about the grade with those.
It's all about the grade there. And if PSA would just get their act together a little bit and be a little more consistent and a little more careful in what they're grading, and a little quicker, it'd be nice.
What's an update on the rumor of Beckett was going to start grading tickets? Is that just
Have you heard anything about that, Mark?
Well, I don't know about Beckett, but I caught rumor about somebody else I can't talk about right now.
It's got off the record.
There's somebody that's looking at it. There's a big company that's looking to maybe jump into tickets.
I feel like SGC would be an ideal one, given their kind of more the vintage stuff.
They did, and they got out.
Yeah. And they kind of have that history.
Well, I think the hang up is, and I think I mentioned this before, where if you don't have the ability to grade autographs, then you're going to lose a lot of the market for tickets. And so, because it's just such a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And so really Beckett and PSA are the only ones who do that I know of. I mean, there's other autograph graders, but they don't grade other.
Well, you need to have a company that A, knows how to grade, period, and is capable to step in and handle the demand right away, not
ramp up
slowly.
Yeah.
There's a company that's looking at it. I've actually talked to them, so I know that it's legit. And we'll know more probably by Christmas.
Well,
by Christmas?
By Christmas, maybe.
Oh.
A little bit more.
I don't know if this is the same one, but Justin Sutterfield said JSA. I heard it is.
And he's got that. But no matter what, no matter who it is or who.
Well, Justin said it. It must be right?
Yeah. Yeah, we know that. I think that there's a huge demand for it, and it's really, really, really needed. So I hope that it happens no matter who it is, and as soon as possible. I would use it for sure.
I thought about it after I talked to these people, and I thought, if it was handled right, as long as the company was reputable, it would work. And these guys are reputable, so we'll see.
Yeah, good. Sounds good.
Hang on one second, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, ma'am.
He's got a package at the door.
Oh,
yeah, it just showed up.
Even better.
Even better.
It is Taco Tuesday.
It is Taco Tuesday.
Nice.
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to touch upon?
No, I think it was a nice discussion. Nice and easy. I wasn't sure how it would flow. You guys make it flow real easy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Good. What's this? What's this?
Oh man, I went to the Upper Michigan, the UP up in Michigan. So we had some backcountry camping and bounced around for about 11 days. Me and my wife, and I got back. I hadn't shaved, and it wasn't hot in Texas. And I was like, man, maybe it's a sign. I just let it go for a while and see how. It's the longest it's ever been in my life, and it was about as good as it's gonna get.
It was, during COVID. There's that time period where none of us went anywhere, and including the barber shop.
Yeah.
And I actually grew a ponytail, and it was probably.
Oh, I need a picture of that.
I've got one, but it was.
I had really long hair.
It was down about here in the length, and I looked like a hobbit old man. But when you pulled it back, then it didn't look bad. But I woke up one morning and said I had a dream that somebody told me it's time for a haircut. And I did.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, we got a non-Justin comment question. Preference of PSA or BGS for ticket auto authentication. Fanatics appears to BGS for the auto tickets. BGS doesn't authenticate ticket. Do you prefer ticket that is also authenticated with event?
Well, I would. I mean, I really prefer my ticket to be graded and the autograph authenticated, and so double grades. Because you put you pay a lot of money for the autograph. So what are some people's autographs really worth? And just because it's on a ticket doesn't mean it's worth $20,000. But that's my thought.
So
unless it's on something that's worth some money.
Yeah, I think that there's no question you would prefer it to be authenticated, the ticket in addition to the autograph authenticated. But I don't know. As you know, I'm not really into autograph tickets. I don't really.
Yeah, I like to get them graded both, unless the ticket's like going to be like a 1 or a 2. Then I'm just like, you know what, just authenticate the ticket.
I agree. If it's going to be a 1, I just assume it'd be authenticated.
Right. And then give me a 10, or if I think it's going to be a minimum 9, more like a 10, then give me a almost always grade the ticket.
But the question was, I think we saw one when you were looking through those. It was authenticated. The autograph was authenticated by Beckett, and that's it. They're not even addressing the ticket at all.
Right.
I think
this is an authentic autograph. It could be on a piece of paper.
Right now,
3 by 5.
And so that's kind of the difference. And I think a lot of people maybe who are new to tickets get confused by that and think that it's being authenticated too. But it could theoretically be a fake ticket or a proof or whatever. That isn't.
At least right now, 100%. If you have an auto ticket, I mean, I'm sending it to PSA.
Yeah. On that, I do have something to show, but I've shown this ticket before, but I got it back from PSA.
Oh, look at that. Looks
Mariano
good.
Rivera, Major League debut, and it came back at 10 auto. But I also did authentic, just like you said, because it has the staple holes in it. If you can see, I don't know if you can see the staple holes, but it has staple holes in it. So instead of getting a 2 or a 1.5, I just went with authentic.
But it says on the header, it tells you what the ticket is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get some of these where it just says ticket, and autographed.
That's a good point too, Mark, because if you do it through BGS, they're just authenticating the autograph. So that's all they put on their slab. They don't put what kind of ticket it was, if that makes sense.
And the whole purpose of, to me, what I like about the grading is having the header and telling me what I'm looking at as a ticket. You get more of a warm, fuzzy feeling when you look at a Jackie first game ticket or last game ticket.
It feels like it's more of a card, for the card people.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I think that was no more questions. We got a good hour plus discussion. I think we got some good info. Mark, I appreciate you.
I appreciate the invite, guys. I mean, it was nice seeing you guys at the National. Look forward to seeing you guys next year in Chicago.
We'll be there next year. Okay. So we'll use your booth as kind of a hangout area for.
That's it. That's
right. It's the hot spot.
Was it you guys? Sean, I know you were one of the guys that was standing some guy dumps a whole bunch of high grade stuff on me. Might have been Brooklyn tickets,
Yeah.
show and tell. And you guys was like right behind them. I'm thinking,
Yeah, just hovering.
You guys must know each other. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you never know.
Well, that's it. I mean, and I think at the National next year, we should all get together for some sort of chow afterwards. I know you guys did it with Lenny. I'll talk to Stearns and figure out, how I get invited.
Yeah, how we get to the big Lenny invite?
We're gonna try to get him on the show next
invite.
If you get him on the show, ask him how his trip going home was, because I know he drove from St. Louis back to L.A. And I told him if he went to Oklahoma, there's got to be about 30 Indian casinos you could stop every 10 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
And you get their comp card, and they give you 10 free bucks.
Yeah.
So you just go and you spend, and you move right. His wife was ready.
She's ready for that.
They have that in Washington too, in Oregon, I think.
Yeah.
Some people do that.
All right, before you go, Mark, I need a Baltimore Ravens season prediction.
Well, I'm gonna go 11-6.
Okay.
And I'm going to say we win the division. And then we'll see what Lamar does. And, he's put on some weight. He's put on some muscle. We'll see if he's agile like he has been. I mean, our backup Huntley, I think first preseason games, he's only thrown 3 incompletions.
Yeah, he's probably one of the better backups in the league, I guess.
And
are you a Lamar believer?
He can run our offense because we are running offense. Our defense is much better than it was last year. Our defense is going to surprise people. I don't know if you saw any of the game the other night against Phoenix. First 3 quarters, they couldn't do anything, even though the backups against backups. And then the fourth quarter, our third string threw a pick and got him back into potential chance to win the game. But preseason, it's everybody staying healthy. That's the biggie.
Are you a Lamar believer?
I don't know if I'm a Lamar believer at the highest paid quarterback out there. I'm not in Watson price range. I don't, I hear they offered him quite a bit of money, and he turned it down. So we'll see. I say keep him this year, franchise him next year, and maybe move on. I
agree. I think the Seahawks got into that problem because if you pay a guy like that, then you don't have any money to pay the rest of your team and you end up losing them.
Look at Flacco. When we win the Super Bowl in 12, he had a supreme or great playoff run.
Yeah.
We paid him big bucks because his contract came due. Didn't make the playoffs again until 18.
I would ask about the Seahawks, but
I know
they're going to be.
We don't have time. We don't have time.
All right, one more question. You mind if I ask? This is from Drunk. If I ask what ticket each of you cherish the most, Mark.
Wow. That might be a little odd in a sense. I got a 24 Game 7 World Series ticket, Walter Johnson PSA 6. I love that ticket. I mean, it's just, I love everything about it. I don't think I'll ever sell it. That's probably one that I know I'll keep for till my days are done.
Yeah.
Johnson, some of the Walter Johnson is so underrated. It's some of those guys, but him in particular.
And those are tough. Those older ones are tough to find.
How about you guys?
Well, for me, there's no question. It's my Jackie Robinson debut. That's the ticket I always wanted. I finally got one, and absolutely.
I guess I'd have to say that one off the top of my head. I'm sure if I dug around, I'd be like, "Oh, this one I cherish it."
For me, I'm the same way. I have to have like a top 10.
If the bubble were to drop on Jackie, and all of a sudden that debut ticket was worth $50, you'd still have the same opinion?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wouldn't change a bit.
I think it's just American history, but I feel like I'm forgetting about some ticket that I have that I'm like, oh, this one. is so great. I don't want to give it up for no matter, it's not worth that much, but it's so
Yeah.
cool.
We probably all have another one like that, but
I know we could do a whole show on our top 10.
It's not like on my wall.
there you go. That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
I mean, you can see it right there. Ed Reed's first interception ticket on the wall.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
It's
You know what thing I love that I never see?
Uh-oh.
That way I'll go into the wall.
Getting the
Go to
good
the
stuff.
wall.
I never see this ticket. I think it's the coolest ticket on so many levels. Is that the Saints, post Katrina, the rebirth game? I never see them ever, and I know they got to be in people's. A lot of Saints fans have to have them. It's a cool looking ticket. It's at home. It's big. It's Saints. It's historic. I love this ticket.
All right, let me go to the wall for a minute.
Mark's going to the wall.
It was a PSA mess up for the header, but Lamar and debut with the guy from Buffalo. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. But they got it as a Minnesota ticket. Yeah,
but you just bagged on Lamar. You couldn't back him.
Well, I still back him, but I can bag on him too. But it was my seat, and I guess the quick story on that was it was first game of the season, and it was raining all day and it rained all night, and we had all our rain gear on, and I had my tickets protected, and we had our waterproof bag, and we get in, I get my programs, and I put my tickets away, and we get home and open up the bag, and I got about that much water on the bottom of the bag. I'm going, no! And the programs are trash. They were gone. And I take the tickets, I slide them out of my little plastic, and they're stuck together. Slide them apart, and the fronts all kind of ran. The backs were clean. So I had PSA just authenticate them.
Yeah.
And they did. Had they stayed dry, they'd be the top 2 in the population report.
How'd you get the hard ticket for that?
Well, being a season ticket holder, I started making phone calls to the Ravens every season. and first couple of years, it wasn't too hard. Last year, it was pretty tough. And this year, I had to beg and plead and tell them that I was crippled and old and couldn't walk. And
I have no phone. I don't know how to work a phone.
And finally, when the lady goes, well, and you take and you reel it in. This year, but this will be the last. So I got season tickets for this year, and just like this was.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's a
I
nice
don't know why they don't just charge a premium a fee, and that's what the Mariners do. I'm a partial season ticket holder with the Mariners, and I asked if I could get my tickets, and they said, yeah, there's a fee, but you can get them printed, and they sent them to me. And
I don't understand it, because when you go to a game, you got to take your phone and stick it on that scanner, and a lot of times people, you just take your ticket and you stick it on the scanner, and you move right through.
It's just like they want that data, they want all your info and where you're going, what you're spending, and your email.
It's the Ravens game this year. They don't take cash, so you got everything's on credit. So they're getting rid of money, but that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother show. That's next week.
It'll be monies from the past.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, guys, it's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you again. Maybe probably the National will be my guess.
The National for sure.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mark.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Take care.